Hello everyone, welcome to A Little Chapel of Faith. My name is Tina. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We have platforms on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. If you're on any of those or all of those, please like, subscribe, and share. We are here with the readings from the New St. Joseph's Baltimore Catechism. We are on part 3, the Sacraments and Prayer. And it says the sacraments give power to live. They are actions of Christ on our souls. They are channels or streams flowing from the open side of Christ through Mary's hands to us. There's the sacraments. A sign represents something other than itself. Smoke is a sign of fire. A red light is a sign of danger. Dark clouds are a sign of rain. A siren is a sound of emergency, fire, accident, etc. A flag is a sign of one's country. A sign is something we can see or hear, which tells us something else, which we cannot see or hear at the moment. Sacrament is a sign of Christ. It indicates that Christ is at action, working in our souls to produce grace. What is a sacrament? A sacrament is an outward sign instituted by Christ to give grace. How many sacraments are there? There are 7 sacraments: baptism, confirmation, Holy Eucharist, penance, anointing of the sick, holy orders, and matrimony. From whom do we receive their powers to give grace? The sacraments receive their power to give grace from God through merits of Jesus Christ. Merit is a right to a reward. The reward to which Christ had a right as a result of his passion and death was that we should receive grace. He won it for us. Do the sacraments give sanctifying grace? The sacraments do give sanctifying grace. A sacrament is a channel of grace. Since grace is a divine life in our soul, we can better understand the sacraments by comparing them with the function of human life. 1. Individual life begins with birth. Baptism is birth into the life of grace. Grows to strong adulthood. Confirmation gives us power to become adults into the life of grace. Needs the nourishment of food. Holy Eucharist is the flesh and blood of Christ as the food and drink of our soul. When sick or wounded is healed by medicine. The sacrament of penance is the medicine of the soul to heal sins. It is restored to full health by convalescence. If the anointing body is anointing of the sick, gives power for full restoration of health of the soul lost by sin. And I'll show you that. Life of the Church. Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah. Life of the Church. Holy Orders. Provides new priests to teach, rule, and sanctify the mystical body. Matrimony. Provides new members for the mystical body. Does each of the sacraments also give a special grace? Each of the sacraments also gives a special grace called sacramental grace, which helps one to carry out the particular purpose of that sacrament. The sacrament of grace of baptism helps us to live as children of God, makes it easier for us to believe in God and to act accordingly, and lessens our inclination to evil. The sacramental grace of confirmation gives us strength to profess our faith even under difficulties and persecutions, and to give good examples to others. The sacramental grace of the Holy Eucharist nourishes our love of God and one another, and helps us to overcome our natural self-love or selfishness. The sacramental grace of penance helps to cure the deeper inclinations to evil that actual sin have put our soul, and makes it easier for us to keep out of sin in the future. The sacramental grace of anointing of the sick help us to accept the sickness of the purifying cross sent by God, and even to accept death willingly from his hands whenever he chooses to send it. The sacramental grace of holy orders helps a priest to fulfill his sacred duties and to be a good priest. The sacrament of grace of matrimony helps married people to bear with each other's defects and to fulfill their duties of the state, chiefly bringing children into the world and rearing them for God. Do the sacraments ever give grace? The sacraments always give grace if we receive them with the right disposition. For example, the necessary disposition to receive the sacrament of penance are sorrow for sin and a firm purpose of amendment. If someone were to go to confession without being sorry, he would not have the proper dispositions. God would pour out the living waters of grace through the sacrament, but the lack of sorrow to the heart would block the pipeline so that no grace would actually enter the soul. Why are baptism and penance called sacraments of the dead? Baptism and penance are sacraments of the dead because their chief purpose is to give the supernatural life of sanctifying grace to souls spiritually dead through sin. Why are confirmation, Holy Eucharist, anointing of the sick, holy orders, and matrimony called sacraments of the living? Confirmation, Holy Eucharist, anointing of the sick, holy orders, and matrimony are called sacraments of the living because their chief purpose is to give more grace to souls already spiritually alive through sanctifying grace. What sin does one commit who knowingly receives the sacrament of the living in mortal sin? He who knowingly receives the sacrament of the living in mortal sin commits a mortal sin of sacrilege because he treats a sacred thing with grave irreverence. What are the sacraments that can be received only once? The sacraments that can be received only once are baptism, confirmation, and holy orders. Why can baptism, confirmation, and holy orders be received only once? Baptism, confirmation, and holy orders can be received only once because they imprint on the soul a spiritual mark called character, which lasts forever. A character is a mark on the soul like a seal on soft wax. It stamps the image of Christ in the soul and gives the soul a share in its priestly powers of Christ. The character of baptism gives power to share in the Mass and to receive the other sacraments. The character of confirmation gives power to fight spiritually with Christ and for Christ against the enemies of the faith. The character of holy orders gives a full share in the priesthood of Christ, power to offer masses, to forgive sins, etc. And that is lesson 23. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Oops. Until then, I hope you're all having a beautiful day. Be well, be safe, be kind to each other. May God bless us all.